So today we'll begin with OS fundamentals, like very basic concepts of what is an operating system, and then we'll step into the Linux concepts. Okay. So let's talk about an operating system. I believe every one of you know what is an operating system, right? So we'll have an idea of it, and then we'll step into why we need Linux for DevOps, virtualization, virtual machines, and then we'll talk about cloud. We'll have an intro of these concepts before we jump into the cloud environment, right? So let's begin with an operating system. Operating system, every one of us is using something or the other OS, right? It works like an interface between the computer and the hardware. Like let's suppose you bought a laptop. You need to install some operating system so that you can work with some apps like a gaming app or documentation and so on, isn't it? So operating system works like an interface between the user and the computer. You want to do any task, you will need an operating system, right? So it works like an interface. Not only that, it will also does many things like resource allocation, resource sharing. If you open multiple applications, if some application is an idle, it can share, it can switch these resources to other process and so on. All this would be taken care by an operating system, right? Whether it is a Windows or Linux, right? It does many things so that you can perform your task with ease and proper. I mean, you can do multitasking, right? You can use the apps. Let's say you are launching a huge app, right? It can allocate the resources accordingly. All of that will be done by operating system. And when you say operating system, there is a major component which does all of this, which is nothing but the kernel, right? That's a central component of an operating system, or it's called the core component. It is the one which is making all of these things possible, right? Again, there are different kernels like monolithic kernel, which will consume more space, and microkernel, which consumes less space, but which makes the system work a bit slow. Monolithic kernel is the one which is more effective, which is used in Linux. Linux systems are definitely more efficient and will have high processing speed when compared to Windows because of the difference in the kernel being used. And also, when you say Windows, you have the GUI, right? Majority of the Linux system doesn't have the GUI at all. It has got CLI, right? Also in real practice, we use the CLI for fast and better processing, correct? GUI is nothing but you have a graphical user interface where you double click and open a file or folder, right click to create and all. In the CLI, you do everything with the commands, right? The basic part of Linux is mandatory for everyone, like working with the CLI, working with the files and folders. Like in any operating system in Windows, how do you create a file? How do you delete a file, folder, copy? These are the basic things, right, to work in any environment. Here also, those are mandatory. Okay, those are good to have. We'll be going through those things in Linux. It's very simple. Don't worry about if you are new to Linux. It's just another environment, that's all. Like you have Windows, you did not learn Windows anywhere, right? You just use it, you get to it. Same is the case here. Anyway, we'll be learning those basic commands. Okay, so you just keep using them regularly. You get used to the Linux operating system. Okay, that's a basic requirement. And okay, fine, you have different operating systems, and let's talk about few differences of Linux and Windows. Like I said, Linux is more efficient, like it works, the processing speed is high, and it is also open source. Whereas Windows, it's not an open source. You know, you have to purchase a license. And in Linux, it's all case sensitive, like files and folder names, these are all case sensitive in Linux, which is not again for Windows. And Linux uses monolithic kernel, more efficient and faster. Linux uses forward slashes, whereas Windows uses backward slash. That's another difference. And Linux is highly secure and less vulnerable for thefts and attacks when compared with Windows. That is another major reason for using Linux more in the environments, right? Okay, fine. Those are the differences. But why do we need Linux for DevOps in particular? What is the reason? Like few reasons are like the efficiency of Linux servers and also the security. And then another reason is majority of the DevOps tools need Linux environment. Majority of them were developed for Linux initially, but now they work for other OS also. But still, majority of the tools still need Linux. Like if you talk about Ansible, Ansible can configure both Windows and Linux nodes, but it is more efficient only for Linux. But the Ansible server should be installed on Linux only. That's the reason, right? It can configure both Windows and Linux, but where it is installed, it should be installed only on Linux server. That's how many tools are there. Linux dependency is there. So we need to get into the Linux environment. That's the reason we'll be using Linux servers for our DevOps. Okay, fine, we'll use Linux, but I want to do hands-on. Mine is a Windows laptop or Mac laptop. How do I get this Linux? Any way, any solution, any idea how we can get this Linux environment?
We can use virtual
on the cloud. On the cloud.
Anything, any others?
We can install a kernel.
You can use VM actually.
You can use virtual machines, right?
Yes.
How many
yeah.
of you know virtual machines here? Can you raise your hands? How many of you have used or know those virtual machines? Raise your hands, please, everyone, quickly. Okay, 7 people. How about others? Eight people. 9 people. 10. Then at least half of you know what is a virtual machine, right? Okay, 11 people. Okay, more than 50% of you know Linux. Okay, so virtual machine is nothing but a system which sits above your major operating system. Means, let's say, okay, you have a Windows laptop. You can start a virtual machine on your laptop. Okay, virtual machine means it will be having another operating system, right, which sits on your laptop, which sits on your main operating system. See here, this is how it is. Let's say this is your laptop. Okay, this hardware indicates your laptop. On that, you have the Windows operating system, right? 1 minute. Yeah. So, see, this is your hardware. On that, you have, let's say, Windows operating system. Now I have Windows operating system, but I want some Linux machine. You can start virtual machines on your laptop. Okay, how you can have it? How you can have a virtual machine here? Virtual machine 1. Sorry, virtual machine 1 and virtual machine 2. Okay, virtual machine 2. Right, you can have these virtual machines, and to run these virtual machines, you need something called hypervisor. What is a hypervisor? Anyone, what is a hypervisor?
It helps you to virtualize your hardware, CPU or the RAM to virtualize.
Virtual machine hypervisor is nothing but it's a software, okay, with which you can launch your VMs, with which you can create your VMs, or with which you can allocate the resources to the VMs. So it's a software. And what are the examples of this hypervisor software? Any examples?
VMware.
Microsoft.
Oracle VirtualBox, yeah, VMware,
Citrix.
Workstation, ESXi, yeah.
Citrix.
Yeah. So those are all different examples of hypervisor software. Means if you want to create a VM, means you should install this on your local machine, like your laptop. Let's say mine is Windows. I have installed Oracle VirtualBox. Now I can launch a VM. So when you see the VM, virtual machine will have its own operating system, like in our case, a Linux operating system you can have. Okay, it could be Windows or Linux or whatever, right? So you will have a hardware, and on the hardware you can have your Linux operating systems installed, right? So, but okay, they'll consume the resources like some 10 GB and all of that will be allocated from your Windows, the main operating system only, right? So it just works like another machine, right? Which will have its own operating system, but still consume the resources of your host. This is how it is. Okay, fine. On my laptop, I'll have a Linux virtual machine, so I can do all the Linux hands on there. But let's say you want a huge, or else 2, 3, 4 VMs. How many VMs you can put there? How many VMs depends on the resource availability on your local machine, on your laptop, right? Let's say you have 20 GB. Okay, let's say each VM consumes 10 GB. You cannot allocate all the resources to VMs, right? You need something for processing also. Otherwise, if you put too many VMs beyond the resource available, your system hangs up. Performance degrades. Correct? Isn't it? So this would be happening here, like the host operating system might be missing on those resources. Yeah, the resource consumption, the resource allocation and all might be missing on. Also, let's say something went wrong. You need to take care of backup, recovery, means you need to manage your own infra, right? So it's again a painful task, correct? So this is one challenge you have. This is the architecture which is implemented for our personal purpose in your own laptop, in your own machine, you may use it, right? This is one kind of virtual machine architecture. See, we have a separate topic, okay, about the virtual machine architecture, which we'll be dealing with. This is the hosted architecture, which you'll use in our personal purpose. This is bare metal architecture, which is used in companies. Means again the same hardware, but you don't need to have an operating system. You can have directly hypervisor and this. This is used in companies, means companies will have their own data centers, right? They may have very huge servers. They'll have very huge servers on which they can put the VMs directly using a hypervisor. Though that's called bare metal architecture. Whatever it is, the challenges are same. You need to take care of their backup, recovery, their maintenance. Also, you need to allocate the resources from them. Too many resources means you have to increase the size of your hardware, like the main thing, and yeah, which is costly. You need to have a separate team to start them, to stop them, to manage them, to maintain them. You need a separate team. You need to take care of their backup, recovery, security. All of them would be challenging, correct? For companies also, even for your daily purpose also, these things you have to handle. So what they were doing, particularly organizations, rather than managing their own data centers, they were using data centers from cloud. Means like cloud, there are different cloud providers like AWS, Azure, GCP, Linode, and so on. So many are there. So many cloud providers are there. Rather than companies having their own data centers, which is costly, which is having lot of maintenance, separate team need to be maintained, they were using infrastructure from cloud. Means cloud is nothing but online system where you can rent your infrastructure. Like, let's say I need 2 servers. You can just go to AWS console. It's like a self-service. Within few minutes, you can create the infrastructure. You can get 2 instances. Those instances would be running on someone else's data center, nothing but AWS. AWS has got its own data centers. GCP, Azure, they have their own data centers. We are creating our infra on their data centers, which is nothing but cloud in simple. Got it, all of you? Because why you should go do it? If I maintain my own data center, like I told you, it's costly, separate team, maintenance. Also, let's suppose I need server only for 2 hours, but still you need to maintain for the rest of 22 hours. Like at least you need to have the security, right? You need to maintain their cooling system. All of that you should take care of. A separate team should be there, correct? But here I need for 2 hours. You can just go to AWS console with a single click. You can use it for 2 hours. And you can pay only for what you use, right? It's a meter. You pay only for what you use, correct? That way it's very efficient, faster. You don't need a separate team to manage, to maintain it. Right? So that's what is cloud. So that's what companies are doing nowadays. They are using infrastructure from cloud. So here also for our daily purpose, yes, we can, for our learning purpose, let's use some instances from cloud so that you will also get the familiarity when you see that environment in your projects, right? So rather than creating our own VMs, now we don't have to do it. We have so many things, particularly cloud provider, with which we can spin up our VMs very quickly, whatever operating system you need. Right. So we will be using cloud to have our Linux instances. On-demand computing resources delivered to us over the internet is called cloud. It is self-service and it is metered. And if you see, yeah, there were so many cloud providers, and when you compare them in the Google Trend reports, this is from 2021, you can also check the latest graph, right? AWS is very widely used, and there were so many other cloud providers coming up. And when I talk about cloud, people have so many questions. Should I learn AWS or should I learn GCP, which is having good demand and so on? See, like any other DevOps tool, so many cloud providers are emerging in the market, and their demand, their interest, usage varies from time to time. Okay, if you know one cloud, the expectation is that you can work on any other cloud because concepts are similar, analogy would be similar, but terminology may be different. Terminology means here on AWS, you call the VMs as EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. Whereas on GCP, you may call them as VMs, virtual machines. So that terminology may differ, but analogy is same again. What are VM, EC2, there are nothing but VMs there. So kind of analogies that companies are expecting that people, if they know one cloud, they can work on any other cloud. And also here, we are not learning cloud. We are learning DevOps implementation on cloud. First, we will use some instances from AWS and we'll learn this DevOps methodology irrespective of, means assume they might be on-prem servers or they might be servers anywhere. In that perspective, we'll learn we'll learn DevOps. Then we'll also see certain services which can help implementing it. Okay, so this is the about AWS. Now we can go and create a free account on AWS and create some Linux instances to get started. Good to go? Any questions from anyone?
No.
Let us know.
Most of the companies choose for AWS, madam.
Louder, please.
Oh, my voice is
Now I can hear you. Tell me.
Yeah. Most of the companies are only choose for AWS when compared to the GCP and Azure.
That is the graph from 2021, but even today, yes, it is the case. Nowadays, Azure is also used equally. Okay, just go to AWS and actually you should create a free account. 1 minute. AWS free account creation. Create a free account on AWS. Okay, go here. Okay, create a free account. Yeah, here you are seeing, right? AWS free tier. Everyone should go and create a free account here. How to create a free account? All the steps will be there in this Google Drive. Here in the Google Drive, if you go to lab setup, yes, here is the one, how to create EC2 instance, free account creation. Of course, these pages might be a bit different because they keep changing the UI, but yeah. Create a free account. It's just 6 steps where you need to provide your email ID, okay, your details. Free tier means it's free for 12 months, means 1 year. And is it everything free? You should use within the free tier eligibility limits. Meaning, yes, for 12 years it's free, but what is free? EC2 is free of 750 hours. Every month of EC2 is free. If in each month, if you use 1000 hours, you should pay for those 350 hours. But 750 hours is more than enough. But I'm telling you an example, right? So you have to use them within the free tier eligibility, right? These are more than enough for our lab. For every service, the same is the case. You have free tier eligibility shown. So go and create a free account. You'll have some 6 steps where you need to provide your email ID, your location, your contact number. Also, you have to provide some credit card or debit card details. That is for validation or verification of the person. Initially, it will deduct 2 rupees of amount, 2 rupees or 1 rupee. It will be also credited back, but you should add those details. Okay, and create an account. See here. It's a 5-step where you put your email ID, password, okay, create an account and all. So once account is created, you can sign in. And once you sign in, you will see like this, all the services. Out of which we have to create VMs. We need some VMs, means you should go to EC2. EC2 means Elastic Cloud Computing Service, which can help you spin up VMs. And those VMs are running on your laptop, or where would be they running?
On a data center, AWS.
On AWS data center. That's the point you have to make a note of. Okay, so that we don't have any burden. You don't need to have Linux operating system because you have Windows. Don't buy another laptop or don't install Linux VMs on your laptop. That will just cause our system overhead on our laptop. So let's use some instances from here, which is cool, right? Okay. So now, yeah, go to EC2 instance dashboard and create an instance. Go to instance, create an instance is nothing but a virtual machine. Okay. Go here and give some name if you want, like test instance. Okay. And then AMI, application and OS image. It is called AMI, means Amazon Machine Image. Okay. Yeah. Which type you need? Either you need Mac VM or Ubuntu or Windows or Red Hat. Do you see so many operating systems are there? Choose the AMI which is free tier eligible. Here you can see that. I'm choosing Linux, Amazon Linux instances. Amazon Linux instances are from Red Hat family. Red Hat is, see, like in Windows, you have different versions, correct? Like in Linux, you have different distributions of Linux, like Ubuntu, Red Hat, or SUSE Linux, and so on. So Red Hat CentOS based systems are more widely used. So I'm choosing Amazon Linux, which is Red Hat CentOS based. And again, you can choose a specific one from there. I'm choosing this Linux-2 AMI, which is free tier eligible. Okay. So this is the one I'm choosing. Choose this one, everyone. Amazon Linux-2 AMI. And yeah, this is the AMI ID. And then when you scroll down, you will see instance type. Which type of instance you need? Means how many CPU memory you need. Again, you should choose free tier, which is having 1 virtual CPU, 1 gigs. Do you see that? Let's say I want to use 2 vCPU. See T2.medium. 2 CPU, 4 gigs of memory, but it is not free tier. Eligible means you have to pay for it. So that's why I'll choose T2.micro, which is free tier eligible. Also, this is good for our labs. Enough for our labs. So you can choose this. Key pair. Key pair is the one which will help you to log in. Okay, to log into the particular EC2 instance. So what you can do for the first time when you do, you can go and create a new key pair. Like, let's say ABCD. Give some name to your key pair. See, this is used to connect to that particular VM, and it uses a concept of SSH at the backend. SSH is a Linux concept. Maybe we'll be learning that in this week, so that you will understand what's happening. For now, just go through the steps. The concept behind this also you will get to know in a couple of days. So just create some key pair and choose the PEM file format and create the key pair. Key pair is created. This should be saved very carefully because if you miss it, you can't connect to your instance. Okay, that's all. Rest of the things, leave it as default and launch the instance. Okay, when you launch the instance, see it's coming up here. State is pending. In few minutes, it will be in started state. Once it is started, you are ready to connect. Okay, instance is created. How to connect? Again, there are multiple ways you can connect. One is select it and click on connect. Okay, you will see this here. Okay, you are seeing this, right? Okay, first let me show you a quick connection. One is select it, just click on connect and you will see instance connect. This is browser-based connect. See, you can connect to it directly in the browser. See, you got the login, you can run any commands. This is a Linux machine, right? But this is browser-based, means only if you have this console access, you can connect to it. But what if you don't have console access and you have only like the SSH keys and all? So let's see connecting other way also. Go to SSH client means you can connect with any SSH client like your Git bash, okay, or terminal if it is Mac. Copy this. This command should be executed from the location of POM file. I'm using Mac, so I'm using terminal. If you are using Windows, you can use Git bash. Do you remember when you install Git, you have got the Git bash? Yeah, you can use that to connect. If it is Mac, use the terminal. And here you should run the command from the location of it. It is actually present in the downloads folder here. Okay, here I can run this. So authentication. See, bad permissions. Okay, permissions of Linux also we are going to learn. Okay, what is this? I'm giving read permission, chmod 400. See, don't worry, we will learn these commands tomorrow. So just I have given, now again run the command. Right, see you are connected. Right, this is another way to connect. One is from browser, which we can't use in real time. Another one is from the PEM file, like using the SSH connection. You may use any SSH clients. There were so many SSH clients. SSH client is, it provides an interface for you to connect. Like you can use Git bash or you can use your terminal or else you can use whatever, right? You can use different things to connect. So, or else you may use putty. If it is Windows, you can also use putty, or else you can use Mobex term in Windows. Okay, there are multiple ways you can use. Any SSH client you can use. Anyway, I'm connected and EC2 user is a default user of these instances. So you are logged in as EC2 user. Are we good? Clear till this part, everyone, how to connect? Any questions?
We have to do some hands-on now, Preeti, to understand this.
Yeah, definitely. You have to do the hands-on. You can open your account and try out after this class. Okay. It is just you are connecting to an instance. That's all. Only once you do, yeah, once you open your account and do that, that would be more visible for you. But just understand, I'm just connecting to an instance. That's all. How to connect, you can try from your end. And also, whatever I'm showing, browser-based connection, how to do also present here. Okay, what should you do? Do you see here? Click on connect. Everything is there. Okay, with a screenshot so that you can do that. From Git bash, if you want again, like downloading Git bash and run the command from your Git bash or terminal if it is Windows, Mac, right? And connecting from putty also here. Also a small video on how to connect from putty. You can use different things to connect. Okay, you can try out them after the class. And once you connect, right, let's see what are all the basic Linux commands we can learn. Good to go? You try connecting after the class by following that screenshots or the video and you can connect. Okay, now, yeah, I got the Linux machine to do my hands-on, correct? That's the whole point. Now, ls means it will list the files and folders in the particular folder. In Windows, you can just double click and see. This is how you see in Windows. PWD means present working directory. Means in which folder are you, right? You have only CLI on Linux, so how do you see where are you? PWD will show you the present working directory. So you are inside home EC2 user. That's a path. Okay, you are in EC2 folder. EC2 folder is inside home folder. Home is another directory. Okay. These are the very basic commands. Similarly, let's suppose you want to create a folder, make directory. Okay, let's say my folder, my directory. ls. Do you see that? These are the simple operations, creating directories, files, moving them, copying them. So we are going with the basic Linux commands. So that will create a directory. Suppose you want to go into this directory. cd. cd means change directory. Do you see here prompt shows you are inside my directory. Also you can do pwd. Do you see that? This my directory is inside the home directory. What is home directory also we'll learn. Let's see. Let's suppose for now my directory is inside home EC2 user. Right? Now I want to create some files. Let me increase the font size. Is it visible for all now? Okay, so here
Yeah, could increase the font size.
further. You want me to increase further?
Yeah.
Now?
Good.
Okay, so now let's say I want to create a file. How do you create a file in Linux? You can use touch command, one of the ways.
Cat also.
Yeah, touch file1.txt. I'm creating a simple text file. ls, see? You created a file. Suppose you want to add something into the file. You can open in an editor called Vim. Vim is an editor. You know what is an editor, right? Like in Windows, you have Notepad, you have Notepad++ or VS Code editor where you can edit your files. Similarly, in Linux, Vim is a default editor, or you can install other editors like Nano, right? I'm using Vim editor. Vim file name. It will open it in a edit mode. Here, whenever you are seeing file name, just the file name indicates your file is in the command mode. But let's say I want to put something. You should go in the insert mode. How do you go? Escape I. Escape I, if you click, you will see at the bottom as insert. Means yes, now you can write anything. And then, okay, you want to come out again. Escape colon. Okay, and you want to save and close it. WQ exclamatory. That will save and close the file. Right? See? You are seeing that message. Correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If I do not, if I want to close the file without saving it.
WQ. Oh, sorry, Q, only Q, no W.
Only Q. Okay.
So that's how you can edit. Cat command will open or show the contents of the file. File is created, you want to see the content, that's all. See, a little practice, that's all. This is nothing big, simple modifying the files. You can, with little practice, anyone can get into it. It's another environment, that's all. Suppose I want to edit again. Escape I, put something here. Again, escape, colon, WQ, exclamatory, save and close. If you don't want to save, only close, quit. It will not be saved. See, there is no second line. So if you want to write something again and save it as well, escape, it goes into command mode, WQ exclamatory. Now check the content of the file. Okay, those are simple file operations, like how you use Vim editor. See, all those were available here. After this lab setup, you have another folder called Linux Basics. Again, document 1, where you have all these commands explained with the explanation, like what is meant by ls, what is meant by everything there, how to work with Vim editor also there. Yeah, Vim commands. Press I key to switch to insert mode. Press escape to enter the command mode. Save and quit, only quit, delete a line. Everything was there, right? To delete a line, entire line, DD. Delete next 10 lines, D10, right? Or else undo, U, and so on. Okay? So many are there. You can go through them slowly. See, it's not that you master or you learn all of them in one go. We'll be using Linux through our entire course for 2 months. So daily you keep using them, you get used to it. Okay? All right. So, yeah. That's how you can create a file. Okay, file is created in this folder. Let's suppose I want to copy this file and create another file called file2. See, that's a CP command. Copy file1, the actual file as file2. See, file is created. If you want to delete any file, rm file2. Right, you get the file1 only. So that's deleted, right? Those are simple things. And I want to come out of it. Means one level back. CD ... will take you one level back. Now you are in home EC2 user directory. You can create any type of files, Virchandra. Text files or Python program files. If you have any files, you can create. It's like in Windows, which type of file you can create. Generally, you can create any type of, right? You right click, you see the types, particularly when you have video editors like VS Code, you may create text files or HTML files or Java files and so on. Similarly, you can create anything. And to come out of it, this is how you come out. Let's suppose you want to copy the folder, right? You can also do that, copy the whole directory. Let's suppose I want to copy this. You can use -r, recursively copy this my directory, and the new directory name is, let's say, new directory. Do you see that? When you go to new directory, see you have again file1. Okay. That's how you can copy the directories, including the content. Suppose we have seen copy. What is moving? Suppose I want to move this file1 one level back here. Okay, move. What you want to move? A file in the new directory should be moved into the current location, means dot. Dot indicates the present working directory, the current location. Yeah, do you see that? Yeah, file1. Here is the file1, right? So earlier it was inside new directory. If you go to new directory, there is no file1 because it's moved, it's not copied. Got the difference between move and copy, everyone?
Yeah.
Tell me, are you saying something? Any questions from anyone? Should I repeat? If you want to see list of commands history will show you all the list of commands. Go through these commands and let me know any command should I repeat. By the way, first lower your hands. First, everyone lower your hands, please. Now raise your hands who are completely new to this. Who are new to these basics, Linux commands? Three people are new. Four people, that's all. Five people are new. So you don't have any idea of these commands? There are people who attended previous batches, like who enrolled for previous batches. I believe by now you know these Linux commands. So how many are new here? Okay, 5 people. Okay, fine. So any questions? So you should ask me, were all these commands clear for you, whoever are new particularly? Already people using Linux, these are the basics, very basics, which everyone should know. But anyone here who, anyone new and any questions there?
New, clear, madam.
Okay,
problem.
all right. Okay, that's good. Okay, fine. Thank you for confirming. So those are the basic commands of creating files, folders, right? Let's say, okay, now come back. Here it is moved. Now if you want to delete a file, rm will delete a file. Suppose I want to delete a directory. See, rm will not help you delete a directory. If you want to delete a directory, you can use, also you want to delete all the content. You can use rm -r to delete all the content recursively. Now, yes, new directory is gone, right? That's how you delete a file or delete a folder, and copying, moving, simple file operations, navigating through the file system, and so on. ls will list the files on folders of that particular location. Let's say you want to see some other location. There are some default files and folders. Let's say etc bin. I want to see files list in this location. etc or else USR local. Right? See, these are all the files and folders present in USR local folder. Right? That's how you can list the files from any other location also, like files and folders in this path. Okay, that's ls command, cd command we have seen, and cd slash. This slash is called the root or else the main parent of the file system. Like in Windows, you have C drive, D drive, and so on, right? In Linux, there'll be no drives, there'll be the path. This root is called the parent, right? Parent root directory. And also, okay, I'm showing you some general Linux commands. Like let's suppose you want to check the CPU on this server, ls CPU. See, 1 gibbs, right? Sorry, 1 virtual CPU we have used. We have chosen T2.micro. You can see that. Similarly, if you want to see memory, see, 1 gibbs of memory, you can see, right? And then, like I said, we are using Amazon Linux 2, which is CentOS Red Hat based distribution, which is based on. So if you want to see which kind of distribution it is, you can see from here. There is a file called etc default folder. In that you have a file called OS release. I'm doing cat, means it will show the content of it. See, name is Amazon Linux 2. This is the ID, and it is like CentOS Red Hat. That's what I told you, right? RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So it is based on CentOS Red Hat, right? That's how you can check the distribution of your Linux server. There is a question from Veerachandra. What is the difference between Docker instance and AWS instance? AWS instance is a virtual machine, okay? And Docker is a container. Like when you say Docker instances, those are Docker containers. So what is the difference between container and a VM, correct? That we will learn when we start Docker. This is virtual machine. AWS instance is a virtual machine, not a container. Differences we will learn when we start Docker. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is the Linux distribution you can see here. And then, yeah, they were something like users, file permissions, which we need to learn. Okay, we will learn those things as well, users and all. See, whenever you create any instance, there will be a root user. Root user is called the default user and is called the super user. He will have all the admin permissions. And there can be other users, like here username is EC2 user. That's a default user, and the regular default user created, and it's a regular user, right? Like this, you can create any other users. Users are human users who can log into the server. Like let's say there were 5 people in a DevOps team, each have to log in. So there can be a users created with their names, and every user, like whenever you create a user, for every user, there will be something called home directory created. Where is this home directory created? Under home. Home is already there. Under this, a directory will be created by the same name of the user. Like if you create Tom user, automatically under home, a Tom directory will be created. And whatever Tom does, all the installations will go into this home directory. Okay, similarly, if you create Jim, yes, automatically there will be a directory created under home called Jim. Right? That's how it works. And this home directory can be seen with a tilde operator, shortcut. Like see, I want to see home directory of EC2 user, cd tilde. See, do you see prompt changed as tilde? PWD shows home EC2 user. Go to, let's say, go to home. ls, see EC2 user. Similarly, when you create Tom, you will see Tom directory under home. and so on. That's called home directory, which will be used by that particular user. Not only that, whenever you create a user, there will be home directory created as well as a group will be created by the same name. Meaning, what is a group, by the way? I'm talking about here users and groups. What is a user? A human user. And there might be different human users who works in different teams and they may have similar permissions. So if you want to give permissions to the users which are same, you can create a group of users, right? A bunch of users make a group, right? And you can add the users to the group, delete the users from the group and so on. Similarly, whenever you create a user, a group will be created by the same name of the user. And also that user will be added to the same group by default. Means whenever EC2 user is a default user, but EC2 user will have EC2 user group and EC2 user will be a member of the EC2 user group by default. Similarly, if you create Tom user, he will be under, a group called Tom will be created and he will be under Tom group by default. Okay, and if you want to see the groups of this user, because same user might be added to multiple groups also, run the command groups. See, there is a EC2 user group, admin group, wheel group, system general group. Those are default system groups. So EC2 user is added into multiple groups. One such group is EC2 user.
How do
Following,
we create a user?
we will see. Okay, we will go through those hands-on, creating users, creating groups. Okay, adding them to the group, deleting them. Got the concept, everyone? Good to go?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, let's create some group. Let's first create a user. We can create some users. Okay. You can create a user and password. Actually, I'm an EC2 user. If you want to switch to root, sudo su hyphen. See, you become a root user, super user with all the permissions. If you want to come out, exit. Again, you become a EC2 user. Now, let's suppose EC2 user by default doesn't have any password. If you want to create a password command for EC2 user. See, you can't do that. Only root user can do that. Creating users, passwords. So if you want to run the command with root user privileges, sudo password EC2 user. See, it's asking for password, set the password. EC2 user, retype the password. Done. So password is created. Where do we see these users, passwords and all? There is a file called etc password. See, cat, I'm reading it, I'm opening it. See, here you can see the user. Whenever you create a user, this is the password and there'll be a user ID generated, 1000, group ID, and the username and home directory and so on. All that information can be seen under this. And group information, if you want to see all the groups, you can see under etc group. Those are the default system files. See, there is a group called EC2 user, right? See, wheel group, admin group, like EC2 user is added into all of these groups, like admin group and some other groups like system D groups and so on, right? That's where you can check. Now you want to create a user. How to create a user?
That's it.
User add or add user. Yeah, Tom. So that will create the user, Tom. Permission denied, because as EC2 user or regular user, you can't do that. Use sudo. So Tom should be created. You can check here under password. Yeah. Do you see Tom? Password and some like group ID, user ID were generated. And do you see that's a home directory generated? Right? See here under home, you see another directory called Tom. Earlier only EC2 user was there. Correct? So home directory is created. user is created. If you want to set the password also, you can do password for Tom. I'm giving the password as Tom only. Done. Right? Password is created, user is created. And if you want to see what are all the groups this Tom is added into, just now we created. If you run groups, that will show the groups of the current user. Means I'm running it as EC2 user. So it will show the groups of it. I want to see groups of Tom. You run groups Tom. See, Tom is into only Tom group. That's called the primary group, default group into which he will be added. Later on, you may add to other groups. Okay, we will do that, but yeah, you can see here all the groups of Tom. And if you want to switch to Tom user, su-tom, password Tom. See, home directory. That's a home directory. And now I'm Tom, you can just run group command, groups, sorry. He is into Tom group only, right? These are all comes under user management. You have to have this kind of idea, basics, because you log into the server, so you need to have some understanding on this. Like I said, this is not something which you should master in a day. It's not possible. Slowly you should get used to it. Watch the recording, do the hands-on step by step. Only few things we did hands-on after creating the instance, but slowly you get used to it. Do the hands-on, that is the key. Understood, everyone?
So, but since we have assigned a password to Tom, so are we able to see his password in /etc users, Tom?
We don't see the password. You don't see the password there. You just can know the password. You don't see them. That's not stored anywhere.
Okay.
Now I have created a user, Tom. How to add him to different groups or how to remove from any groups, right? That is all under user management, users permissions. See, users permissions makes more sense when you give permissions to the files, right? Like when you talk about file, okay, this user is a new joiner, you might not be having to permissions to modify the file, right? Or some other user might be having permissions to the same file. So how that works, that's where user management file permissions comes in. Before we go to that part, is this much clear for everyone?
Hi, hi Preeti.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, we are creating a password for Tom and some user, right? Suppose we will forget the password, how to reset that?
Actually, you should have a root user can edit the passwords. Like root user can modify. Means if you forget the password, root user can set them, can set the password. Root user will have those permissions. Like when
Okay,
you log into root, root user can have permissions.
thank you.
Do you want me to continue with the file permissions or shall we take up this tomorrow? How do you want? As it's a first day, do you want to create instance and try till this part or can I continue? How do you want?
We will continue tomorrow, man. We need to do the
Well, the
practice.
practice.
As it is a day one, first go and create your accounts. Okay, creating account, connecting to it is also hands-on for you. If someone doing for the first time, then this much is enough. Okay, do these basics. We'll take up from here tomorrow. Tomorrow, complete session will be hands-on. So be prepared. Means create your instance and get these things done before we take up from here. Right?
Okay.
Tomorrow, are you going to continue the only Unix session or are you going to cover the
Tomorrow
AWS?
also we'll go through the
Linux.
yeah. We'll go through these commands, installing packages. Okay. Yeah. And then once you get to know like, okay, how to connect to them, how to work with file system, then we will go and create, we'll get started with Jenkins. Okay, we'll install Jenkins on the Linux machine and step by step we'll proceed to learn all the Jenkins concept and then go to the pipeline part. Any
Okay.
more questions?
Yeah.
Okay, get started with your hands-on. First, create your account and connect your instance. Okay, that's the first step. Second step, go through these commands. Commands are there in the drive, whatever we have used. Also, take up a Linux quiz on the portal, Linux Day 1 quiz. This is the first day of Linux. Go through that quiz. Do the complete hands-on. Okay, before you join tomorrow for sure. If you are stuck up anywhere, put those queries in the WhatsApp group. Okay, we'll respond there. All right then. Thanks everyone. Have
Thank
a
you
good
all.
day.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Happy Sankranti too.
Happy Sankranti everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Same to you.